I got this feeling I'm losing you. It's got me reeling. I need a clue. Got my heart burning. I lost my spell. Can't say you turn it up. This looks like hell. I get like this feeling, it's not in my head, and I know it's something I did, baby. I get like this feeling, I'm out of control, got to get back to the life that I know. I'm not faking up, but if it's a time that's running out, how did this shit come about? I'm not faking up, but I'm afraid of losing you. If that's what it comes to, baby, if that's what it comes to, baby, it's all you gotta say to me. If that's what it comes to, baby, if that's what it comes to, baby, it's all you gotta say to me.
Happy to have you here, Adam. We still got like 3 hours left over here, so I'm making the most of it.
Just keep out in my tongue till all you want is done, alright. And you just won't leave me. Oh, yeah. Oh, come on. I get like this feeling, it's not in my head, and I know it's something I did, baby. I get like this feeling, I'm out of control, got to get back to the life that I know. I'm not faking up, but if it's a time that's running out, how did this shit come about? I'm not faking up, but I'm afraid of losing you. If that's what it comes to, baby, if that's what it comes to, baby, it's all you gotta say to me. If that's what it comes to, baby, if that's what it comes to, baby, it's all you gotta say to me.
Good evening. Let's see if we can. Okay. I can do game capture. Do this. I'll just scoot this over. Okay. Oh, a second. That's great. Cool. I'm not hearing any music. Is there music volume is all the way up? Okay. Well. Okay. Gravity Falls dating sim, yes. Good old road trips, full of promise and ripe with potential for adventure, soul-searching, and incredible scenery. Or at least that's what you thought before going, before the novelty wore thin. As of now, your legs are cramping up, you've exhausted your travel playlist 2 times over, and your stomach is begging for something to eat. On top of all that, you're pretty sure you're lost. Let me turn the music down a teeny bit. Just to make sure that my voice is still fine. Driving through Oregon paints a picture of trees, trees, and more trees, especially on the endless winding roads that have taken you up north. All that breaks the pattern is a sign that zips past with words that you're just about to make out. Gravity Falls. Just able to make out. Gravity Falls. The road continues on, giant redwoods looming on both sides. You find yourself anticipating something because as you drive on, you can feel it. Something strange is bound to happen here. Something weird. And that's when it happens. Your car picks up speed. The change came out of nowhere, and you quickly put your foot to the brakes, but horrifyingly, the car seems to be driving on its own willpower. Trying to stay calm despite the panic welling in your chest, you pull the emergency brake, only to find that the car resists and keeps moving forward like something is pulling it. The car begins to rattle, the wheels screech against the country road, and you're screaming until... There's smoke. Why is there smoke? You cough, fumble for the door, and manage to undo the lock just before the door is wrenched outward from your grasp. Something lands on your shoulder. A hand. You alright? A man stands up. By the way, spoilers for Gravity Falls? This man shows up. I should be saying spoilers for Gravity Falls. If you have not not watched Gravity Falls, you should. It's wonderful, but I'm going to go ahead and assume, given the 2 options of romance partner that I'm aware this game has, that you should probably have watched Gravity Falls. A man stands at your open car door, his hand on your shoulder, leaves to tilt your head up. He pulls a flashlight from his coat, shining it in your eyes, 2 blinks, and then he lets your chin go. His eyes dart over the rest of you, looking for injuries. Still stunned, all you do is watch. What's your name? Regular person? Yes, that is me. Regular person. Look, I've had people get upset, and honestly, Gravity Falls is a very good show, and if you haven't watched it, I do think you should go in unspoiled. Like, if you don't know the shenanigans that happen in this show. But also, God, who was the guy that Cecil Baldwin played? Cecil Baldwin. Literally, one of the first things that pop up is Cecil Baldwin Gravity Falls. Tad Strange. Do I just want to be Tad Strange? There's a part of me that wishes to be Tad Strange. But like, Tad Strange is canonically just a normal guy. I could be weird and just name myself Alex. And be like, oh hey, Alex Hirsch. Let's be Tad. Or you know what? The journal probably getting the book of Bill from the holidays. I'm good, cannot speak for others. I also have journal 3 signed. I'll just say missing. Or I'll just say novice. I'm just gonna say novice. What are your pronouns? I'm a guy, thank you. I'm Stanford Pines, Ford for short. I would shake your hand, but you look shaken up enough as it is. You seem fine as far as I can tell, but you shouldn't head back out there anytime soon. Where on earth were you driving to in such a hurry? You open your mouth to explain when a voice calls from inside the house. Poindexter, this better not be one of your experiments again. I've had this place rebuilt too many times to... The owner of the voice walks out of the house and stops slack-jawed at the sight of your car and the sight of, you're guessing, his house. You must have hit your head earlier because you could swear you're seeing double. Sweet Moses, Ford, you've done it this time. Well, this has nothing to do with me. I was testing my magnet gun and it must have pulled this victim of circumstance into the house. I suppose it's entirely my fault. I'm incredibly sorry. Reassure him, reassure yourself, cry. I'm gonna reassure myself. I don't think I'm gonna cry in front of strangers, but also you just wrecked my car. I can't believe my car. What's going on? Who are these men? And why did this have to happen to you? Everything's gonna be fine. I'm gonna get through this. Hey, look, it's fine. By the way, you can't see because I'm in front of the window. But whenever they're talking, it either has the six-finger glove symbol for Ford or the fish symbol for Stan. Sure, there's a dent in the hood from the shack's signage and a crack in the windshield that looks like an ominous triangle. Oh, that's not great. A crack in the windshield that looks like an ominous triangle. But I'm sure she'll still run. Try and start up the car. It sputters, but ultimately nothing happens. You feel like crying. Oh. Well, let's call a tow truck for this unfortunate soul here and forget I'll take care of it. You're right, it is cheaper to tow it yourself. Sixer, get that magnet gun out again. No, Stanley, I'm going to fix this. Oh, what? You fix this mess? I figured out a few alien vehicles in my time. Ah, you kidding me? It takes some sort of miracle worker to bring this baby back to life, and this miracle worker's on vacation. Emotional damage for car destroyed by a magnet gun and Bill. Yeah. Stanley, a moment. Ford and Stanley turn away, and you're left to your thoughts. Who could anticipate a car accident like this in the middle of a road trip? You can take care of the car, but how are you going to get home? They run buses out here, right? So you take a bus out of here, and then... Ford clears his throat, shifting a little awkwardly in place. Seems like they finished their talk. So there are a few options. My brother, Stanley here, could drive you out of town to find a place to stay for the night, or could stay the night here. We have some maps and information you can look at in the gift shop, and in the morning we can help you with your car. What do you say? Just as you're about to answer, another high-pitched voice comes from inside the house. Grunkle Stan, picture this, a whole week of... Oh my gosh! Okay, so is this not... If Mabel's here, I'm gonna make a guess. This is potentially still in the final act of the show. Or, it's like the following summer. I feel like it has to be the following summer, because Stan and Ford seem to be getting along. So I feel like it can't be during the show. Girl that runs out of the house comes to a halt at the sound of your car. Oh, great. Grunkle Ford? Why is it that everyone automatically thinks that I'm at fault? Well, this time it is my fault, but I've invited an officer to stay with us for the night. If he'd like, I'm sure I can fix this. I just have to figure out how. Stanley sighs. I can take a look. Being on vacation is pretty boring, and the old Stanmobile hasn't needed a tune-up yet, so it wouldn't be too bad to work on something in the meantime. Thank you, Stanley. I'm sure that I can put something together from the gadgets I've lying around if you need any specialized tools to help you with the job. Let me introduce myself. I'm Mabel. You can ask me anything. I pretty much know everything there is to know about this place. Wait, hold on. I haven't even said anything yet. I appreciate your offer to let me stay and to repair your car. Yeah, it'll be good. As long it'll be as good as new in my hands. I mean, look at my Stanmobile. She's been through the ringer, and who knows how many times she's been. And she's still a beaut. He points out a red car parked a distance away. You can't really see how beautiful it is at this distance, but he sounds really confident. Final act following summer, or worse, a possible spoiler to Book of Bill line here. Alternate timeline. This turn of events is fortuitous. Free repairs, free lodging, and there's no better deal to be found. If things don't work out, the town probably has some sort of auto repair shop you can go to instead. And the fact that my windshield shattered into the shape of a triangle is probably totally irrelevant. Well, I accept. Thanks for the help. My apologies again. What an embarrassment. I must have made such an elementary mistake. I'm curious if they just totally redrew the backgrounds, because these are great. As the Pines lead you inside the house, Mabel leaves her number in your phone for you to call whenever, and you find out that Ford's twin goes by Stan. This part's the house, but just outside that door is the Mystery Shack. Hey, you ever been to the Mystery Shack before? I wanted to, actually. I saw a bumper sticker while I was on the road, and I got curious. You're interrupted by a loud triumphant, "Ha! Those bumper stickers were a good investment, and Sixer says they're too plain and graphically simplistic and don't even have an address on them, Stanley. How's anyone supposed to find the place to attract customers? Sixer, did you hear that?" Well, they are graphically simplistic. I don't know how he found the place, let alone thought what is the Mystery Shack was compelling. I kind of liked it. See, kind of liked it. Hey, I like you. How about I give you a tour sometime tomorrow? Regular price. Tomorrow? Then I'll have to squeeze all of my get-to-know-you questions in today. Tell me, capybara, yes or no? Oh, God. Excuse me, I need to screenshot this for a friend. I need to screenshot that for a friend really quick. At that moment, a boy passes in the hallway at the far doorway, and Borg calls out to him. "Dipper, my boy, I'm surprised I didn't see you right after the scene of the crime." Crime? What crime? I have an alibi, I swear. Oh, you have someone with you. Okay, I think then this is... Is this after the show then? Because I forget, Dipper gets a different hat, right? He, like, gives up the Dipper cap at some point. At the end of the show, I think. I know he has a different hat at the start, but I think he also leaves it at the end. Crime? What crime? I have an alibi. I swear. Oh, you have someone with you. I'm not suspicious at all. Did you guys see that car on the side of the shack, though? For a second, I thought the Minotaurs were back with a grudge. Yes, about that, Dipper. Me, Novice. I've, stranded his car here, by accident. He's staying here for the time being. Sorry, stranded his car here? You crashed it? Oh yeah, Wendy trades hats. Okay, so this is after the show, then. Yeah, the Essence shack fell on it and everything, and the windows are cracked. One window, the windshield, and Novice is lucky to make it out alive. He's fine, no injuries, thankfully. The magnet gun's rather safe despite never having been tested in a formal setting. Yeesh, did you not, like, take safety precautions or anything? Actually, the irony of the situation is that I was trying to install a safety precaution. Hey, if you two are gonna do all your nerd talk, I'm gonna get Novice set up. Mabel, sweetie, why don't you show Novice around? Let him stay in the storage room. That's still empty, right? I'll make it empty. The rest of the day consists of Mabel showing you around the storage room you'll be staying in, and then the kitchen, and then the living room, and then the hallway, and then the bedroom, and then the bathroom, and pretty much a comprehensive tour of the mundanities of a regular house. It's a Gravity Falls dating sim. It's not made by the Gravity Falls team, though I believe Alex Hirsch has played it. Eventually, you find out the family is even more extended than you already knew. The decorative doilies make a lot more sense knowing that a grandmother normally lives here, and her grandson Zeus. I forgot they moved in at the end of the show. Or was it Zeus? Whatever the name. You look forward to meeting him when he comes to work for the morning. When you go up to the attic, Mabel opens the door to reveal Dipper's nose stuck in his book, but you can catch him occasionally glancing up as at you as he pretends to read. The next member of the family snorts up at you from Mabel's bed, a rotund pink pig who Mabel declares is her best friend and partner in crime, Waddles. The two are a perfect match, right down to the chubby cheeks and boopable noses. And in the evening, though you've still been in disbelief over your savior car, the family dinner and after-dinner TV marathon you've been invited to make it seem like a normal guest stay rather than a forced circumstance. Returning to the storage room, Mabel had shown you earlier. You find an air mattress waiting for you and more pillows and sheets than a summer night warrants. Souvenirs, cursed artifacts. You wake up to the weak glare of the sunlight streaming in through the small high window in the wall. You can't remember your room having this kind of feature, or any hotel or motel room for that matter, and then yesterday comes crashing back to you. You glance at the time to see that you've slept into the afternoon. Experiencing the accident yesterday must have left you tired out. Despite having been assured yesterday evening that you were free to do anything in the fridge, you feel like you're imposing on the Pines family and try preparing as polite a guest breakfast as you can. You wash your dishes in the sink before you leave, and just as you're about to exit the kitchen, you bump into Ford. Oh, yes, from yesterday, of course. For a good, solid moment, Ford regards you in awkward silence. Ford clears his throat. I believe Stanley is taking a look at your car outside if you want to be there for it. You give a nod and make to leave for real this time when Ford speaks up again. And, I'm sorry again for the accident. If I'd been smarter about... But let's just say it's entirely my fault, and you shouldn't worry about this at all. When it comes down to it, Stanley does have a knack for cars. I predict you'll be back on the road in a matter of weeks. Weeks. You can't keep the dismay off your face. And can't really bring yourself to try either. Whatever you gotta do with weeks? Ford, who's gone kind of uncomfortable and closed off when your face fell, recovers to the prospect of a question he can answer. Well, there's the tour of the town, of course. And the mystery shack. If you ask me, all that pales in comparison to... Hold on, do you hear that? Ford turns to the kitchen doorway to investigate. Sound comes again. And this time you hear it as well. The squeal of a pig, followed by a pair of quick footsteps running down the stairs. Waddles tumbles past the open kitchen doorway, and Mabel comes into view soon after, a few sheets of paper clutched in hand. Ford steps quickly out of the kitchen, and you follow to the doorway, getting there just in time to see the apparent tug-of-war between Mabel and her pig over a saliva-covered sheet of paper. Paper rips. After neatly toppling backwards from her efforts, Mabel recovers, snatching the scrap of paper from Waddle's jaws and lifting both pieces up victoriously. Mabel wins again. I just gotta find Crockle Ford! Ford, who'd run forward and held a hand out to steady this energetic child when she'd been in danger of toppling over now, finds a number of crumpled sheets of paper shoved into his hands. Mabel tugs urgently at his coat. Crockle Ford, you have to help me! Ford kneels down to face Mabel with a serious, though concerned look. Slow down, Mabel. What's the matter? Tipper found a stack of pages from your old journals, and I walked in, and Waddles ran up and started eating one, and he must have been chewing on it to warn me, Crockle Ford, because look! Mabel takes the ripped tabs of paper back from Ford's hands and joins them together, holding it up for Ford to see. I see. And you took it as a warning? Yeah, it says here that it eats small dogs, and Waddles is a small pig, but he sort of looks like a dog from far away, and Waddles must have feared for his life. Waddles seems to second this notion with a snort. Or not, as it seems the pig is lounging adorably a short distance away in the hallway. You can't imagine what this dangerous predator could be. Some kind of wolf? Something bigger? You're suddenly not so keen on staying anymore. Remember the pterodactyl I told you about? Waddles was so scared that time. I can't let him leave my side. Pterodactyl? You suppose pigs are allowed in the museums? In the museums around here? How about I finish off that repellent I never got around to completing? That'll keep Waddles safe from harm. Mabel's flops on the floor in relief. Crockle Ford, you're an actual lifesaver. Waddles, you have nothing to fear. Ford chuckles, lifting himself off the kneel and standing back up. Alright, I'll go get my recipe. Ford turns to leave, and you suddenly remember that with nothing better to do for weeks that you're going to be here, it wouldn't hurt to get to know Ford. He seems to know what there is to do around town anyway, and you'll need that to not die of boredom in the first week. I kind of want to fill up my water bottle. I'm getting a little thirsty already from reading. Also, very good question. Title of the stream is I Steal Ida's Man. That does imply that I would be going after Stan. I don't actually know which of the brothers I want to date. The concept of dating a guy who was married to Ida Clawthorne for a night is interesting. I want to fill up my water bottle really quick though. I'm not even gonna put a BRB screen on, or I'll literally be right back. Yeah, no, there's the commentary on one of the, are you saying Stan and Ida what, as in you don't know who Ida is, or you're unaware of the fact that Stan was married to Ida from the Owl House for a night? There's an in-character, character commentary on the DVD versions. Yeah. In the DVD versions of Gravity Falls, there is a, it fits Stan and Ida's vibes, honestly. So in one of the commentaries, Stan mentions his ex-wife, his ex-wife Marilyn, which is the name that Ito goes by in the real world. And he describes the woman that he was dating. It fits Ida perfectly. So, and knowing that Alex Hirsch and, God, I forget who was the lead for, Owl House. But given that they were dating at the time, and I believe we're still good friends, especially since Alex Hirsch voices King on the show, the implication is that, yes, Gravity Falls is part of the Gravity Falls is canonically part of the extended universe of Owl House, because Owl House has a direct reference to, has a couple direct references to Amphibia, and Amphibia has several direct references to Gravity Falls, so they all do exist within the same universe. Dana Terrace, yes. I was gonna say Andy Stevenson, but Stevenson's, She-Ra. But yes, Stan was married to Ida for a night in Vegas. I don't think it was in Vegas, but it was a Vegas wedding situation, and that fits the both of them so well. He seems to know what there is to do around town. You need us not die bored of him the first week. Or, more pressingly, you could go check on your car and see what Stan's made of it so far. You're not exactly eager to face seeing your car on the side of the house again, though. If you watch the Owl House, there is a scene where there is a news article that is like, girl trapped in frog world, and it shows a picture of Anne Boonchoi from Amphibia. And then there's an entire episode of Amphibia where there's just a frog version of the Mystery Shack that is a alternate universe of it, essentially. So, it's interesting. Oh, is the Ghost and Molly McGee also part of the extended universe? I only watched, like, a bit of the ways into the first season of that. But I'd buy it. Okay, yeah, so that's the question. Do I date Ford or do I date Stan? I think I kind of want to date Stan. I feel like it'll be more hilarious. I feel like dating Stan will be more hilarious than dating Ford. I'm gonna go with Stan. I'm gonna check on the car. After Ford leaves, Mabel rolls away with her pig towards the living room, and you head out of the house in search of Stan. The Mystery Shack should only have 4 main sides, but you feel like you've made your rounds past 5 of them before seeing your absolute wreck of a car. You swear it looks even worse than it did when you crashed it. Stan stands before it, hands on his hips as he looks at the large wooden S that's made an indent in the car's hood. Even only had 2 seasons. Is it not directly connected? I wouldn't be surprised if the Ghost and Molly McGee was in the same universe, but I don't think it is. The, like, ghost hierarchy, I feel like it would make sense that it's not, because, like, the whole ghost hierarchy they got going on feels like something that would contradict how we saw ghosts work in Gravity Falls. How bad is it? I can't tell you yet until I get this letter off the hood. That S never did like to stay in place. Mystery hack, huh? Look, if you're gonna insult me... Oh, you were reading the sign. I'm fixing that later, alright? Just avert your eyes, don't look at it. Let's help. I guess we should fix it as soon as possible, then. Sounds good to me. Give me a hand here, would ya? Stan directs you to help him push the wooden S off the car. It stalls a little on its own dent, but with another firm shove, its end meets the ground. Stan gives it another push with a grunt, and it tips, falling completely to the ground with a whump. Now that it's free of its burden, Stan lifts up the dented hood of the car to take a look inside. He hums and haws and rubs his hands over his chin in thought, walking over to his toolbox and grabbing a tool before walking back, still assessing the damage. Yeah, this one's gonna take a while. You got parts that need replacing, not to mention she's not gonna look so hot after this, unless Ford's got text squirreled away somewhere that can smooth out these dents. The more he tells you the situation, the more it all sinks in. You really are stuck here. Stan spots your worried frown. Hey, Look, I know how this sounds, but with me on the job, you'll be all set and back on the road in no time. You think so? Kid, I know so. I even got a plan to get those replacement parts of yours. Might not be able to clean up all those scuff marks after I'm done, but she'll run. And hey, maybe you've got to stay a couple days, so what? There are worse places to get stranded, believe me. In fact, I'd even say the Mystery Shack's the best place to get stranded. We've got all tons of stuff for people just passing through. Merchandise, magic, mystery, other M words, mayhem. You get the idea. Stan tosses the tool and his hands back into the toolbox, exchanging it for another. He works for a while longer in silence, metallic clanks and the occasional heavy breath, all that mixes in with the sounds of the outdoors. You stand by, awkward, uncomfortable, and a little useless. Can I help with anything? You know anything about cars? No. Stan straightens, cracks his back, and sets down a tool before leaning casually against the nearest load-bearing surface. He wipes his forehead and lets his hands fall to his waist and gives you an assessing look. How can you date Stan? He's into Spider Lady. I feel like Stan feels pansexual. Like, if you told me Stan was pansexual, I'd get it. Steven Universe is some out of canon to the expanded universe because Rebecca Sugar and some callbacks in Amphibia. There's some Steven Universe callbacks in Amphibia? See, I'd be a little bit... Spider Lady's an Owl Lady specific... Look, the fact that he was married to Ida, he has good taste. I feel like Steven Universe wouldn't be part of a connected cinematic universe because it's not a Disney Channel show. And also just feels a bit too... Steven Universe being part of Gravity Falls makes less sense because Steven Universe is very... First off, the United States of Steven Universe is totally different than the actual United States in the real world, and we're in just de facto Oregon. So, I don't think that's a thing. And also, like, magic is so unbelievably mundane in Steven Universe. Like, people will see magic and they'll be like, okay, yeah, that's just a thing, I guess. Like, they'll be weirded out by it, but it's not, like, weird. Whereas, like, this place still has cryptids. How about collages, tall tales, improv? I think I can handle that, but what does that have to do with this? You gesture at your stranded car, held in limbo between life and death by nothing other than Stan Pines' car expertise and a little luck. Nothing. I was planning on having you help me, help Seuss around the shack. Favor for a favor, what'd you say? Well, it's more interesting than helping Ford with his pest problem? You accept. Alright, follow me. You follow Stan back into the mystery shack, passing by the showroom and getting a glimpse of an energetic figure leading a flock of tourists through a veritable sea of obviously fabricated oddities. You hear the words, and this is the 9th wonder of the world, right here in the Mystery Shack. It's what makes this place world famous, dudes. It was established that nobody is surprised by magic everywhere in Steven Universe, just Steven's town. It's interesting because, like, there's magical stuff scattered all over the world in Steven Universe. And, like, people are still surprised by it, but it's, like, normalized in a strange way. Like, you tell someone, oh, that they're a magical person from another dimension, and they just kind of accept that at face value. Also, not to mention, past the end of Steven Universe Future, past Steven Universe Future, I believe it's explicitly known that, like, aliens are real at that point. Because, like, Earth is now part of a, like, federation with all of the gem planets. It's not a federation, but, like, Earth is aware of interplanetary travel and stuff. No, yeah, it's Steven Universe Mid-Atlantic, but it's it's like an AU history United States. Whereas, Owl House is in Massachusetts, and it's just straight up Massachusetts. Gravity Falls is straight up Oregon, and Owl House is straight up Los Angeles. So there's not Owl House, Amphibia is straight up Los Angeles. That's Seuss. During operating hours, he's the Mr. Shack's one and only Mr. Mystery. I told him he didn't have to keep the shack running while he's on vacation, but the kid's got a passion for the role. That happened at the end too, wasn't it? Seuss, like, took over the entire Mystery Shack. You interested in this kind of stuff? I was thinking about going on a tour. Feels weird now that you're staying at a tourist trap, though. And you were kind of going to poke fun at the exhibits. Harder to do when you have to live around your tour guide. It's fine, really. Nah, I think I want to give you a tour of the place. You get one from the founder himself. You ever hear one of my plugs on the radio? You weren't really paying attention to the radio during the drive. Just taking in the Oregon scenery. See the signs pointing to this place for over a mile down the road? Again, you're pretty preoccupied with the Oregon scenery, but you guess you did see some signs with question marks on them. That's some vague advertising. Just seeing what works. Bumper stickers, huh? Still got one on Ford. Anyway, follow me, folks. Well, folk, get ready to be amazed. Stan starts leading you back to the way you came. You trail behind him, a little skeptical, but definitely curious. Didn't you say the founder would lead this tour? Is Seuss the founder? Stan laughs. What? No, I'm the founder. I built this place from the ground up. Metaphorically speaking, I mean, the house was here, and the junk was here, but I was the one who spun this place into a wondrous house of mysterious junk. Stan gestures with his arms like he's smoothing out a rainbow. You're not very impressed. Prepare to be amazed. You're still not very impressed, but his energy gets you hoping that you'll be amazed anyway. There's a tour group in the showroom right now, so I'll take you a different cycle that completely misses them. We're starting in the gift shop. You enter the gift shop, a simple crowded from top to bottom with the standard tourist souvenirs and merchandise. You see t-shirts with question marks, mugs with question marks, and pretty much everything has question marks. In one corner of the room stands a lumpy attempt of a statue labeled the Founder, recognizable as Stan only by the nose and glasses. This room usually comes after I butter the customers up to buy things, but since you're staying a while, I'll have plenty of time to sell you stuff later. Take a look around. If I have an impulse to buy, make it. Nothing like trusting your instincts. The employee of every month. I was unaware that there was a reference in... It was Amphibia? Was it Amphibia that you said, or was it Owl House? I was unaware that there was a reference there. I wasn't looking for one because it's a Cartoon Network show versus a Disney Channel show. Aztec calendar. I absolutely know how to read that thing, and you should buy it. Calendar statue. Yeah, should ask Mabel to carve it. Gotta admit that every version of me has got a charming smile, though. Jar of eyeballs. Thought we sold this thing years ago. Nah, I forgot to put a price on it. I just had a dollar sign on it. Stan takes a dark marker and squeezes in a 9.99. And he goes back and makes it a $29.99. The jar's got a lot of eyeballs. Just because you're staying does not mean you get to sneak over here for a popsicle. I get to do that, but that's because this used to be my place, and I get founder benefits. I also get founder's dibs on the pineapple ice pops. Who doesn't love a good souvenir t-shirt? They're great for layering. And I got characteristic Mystery Shack question mark on them. What makes it a Mystery Shack question mark instead of just a regular question mark? He asks too many questions. Or do you? He says that last part in an exaggerated tone that betrays it as a sales pitch. This guy has no subtlety. Pyramid of mugs. You can't actually take one out of that stack. I glued them together that way back when. Secret business trick. Are you telling me because no one will ever believe you? They'll try it, and the whole stack will fall to the floor. You notice that you break it, you buy it sign on the wall. Jipper used to wear one of those. Seuss tells me they sold like hotcakes after Ford tosses journals into the bottomless pit. Funny, those events have no correlation. I thought that Mabel said earlier... Ah, shit, it's the start of this is the start of a new scene. I thought Mabel said earlier that she was showing, she was showing Ford a page from one of the journals. Journals? Bottomless pit? We'll have a chance to swing by the bottomless pit later. It's a prime spot on every tour because the troublemakers always accidentally trip in, and I get to leave the tour without them for 20 minutes. I'm kidding. Should have seen the look on your face. Yeah, also, the bottomless pit isn't bottomless. Like, it is bottomless, but stuff comes back out. Seuss has always been the hardest worker in the place. It was only natural to hand it over to him. You sure will. I think I hear the group heading out of the showroom anyway. Now, most tourists don't appreciate nature's artistic genius, by which I mean my artistic genius, because I remembered you're going to help me out today. You don't think I'm money-making wonder like the Sasquatch by having a boring 9-to-5 office job. You think it up when you wonder, why hasn't anyone found the Sasquatch? Could it be that its name has been mispronounced this whole time? Anyway, just let me know when you've soaked up enough inspiration from this room, because you're going to need it to use it right after. Alright, come on. You're going to see what makes this place the Mystery Shack instead of just the Shack. We're making another attraction for the showroom. You follow Stan through the living room to the kitchen, where stuffing and animal parts are strewn across the surface to your left. Stan pulls out a thick needle and a spool of thread, and as an afterthought adds a couple of nails and a hammer to the pile. It seems a little unsanitary to do this right across from the fridge, and has the potential to look almost gruesome if it weren't so oddly cartoonish. He steps up to the workspace and pulls the googly eyes that have been glued over the lifeless, glassy ones, typical of taxidermy. Mabel's contributions to the craft project remain firmly intact. That's what I get for letting Mabel bring her stash of scrapbooking supplies. That's one more thing to add to the backstory. Backstory? Well, you don't think the tourists are dumb enough to believe the thing you're selling them is, what you tell them it is just like that, do you? Because if you do, they'll be out of business in Gravity Falls. Anywhere else, though, customers take a little more work. See, every good piece comes with some kind of story, or if you're Poindexter, some kind of lore. Horror stories are pretty well, because with enough suggestion, people can always find ways to spook themselves. Done it for years. It's kind of an art. Stan appears nonchalant, but you can see quite a quiet pride within him. Sounds hard. That's why I'm here, to make you sure you do it right. You're still doing all the work, though. You said you've done this for years? I always had a knack for it, even when I was a kid. Sure, there was a little learning curve involved, but I've had a few unhappy customers over the years. Stan pauses seemingly to reminisce, and the mixture of mixed smile grimace on his face tells you he probably had many unhappy customers. Mostly, I've run a great business on telling lies. I mean, stories. You're learning from a true master, kid. Why don't you run this place anymore? Stan's grin melts to something softer, maybe a little bittersweet. Brother wanted to drag me off on a trip with him. Couldn't say no, and I couldn't just close the place, so I left it all to Seuss. He practically grew up in this place, you know? Definitely wouldn't have entrusted it to Wendy. She's usually the cashier around here in the summer. It's weird having to explain all of this to you. I keep thinking you already know all of this. Yeah, why would you think that I know all of this already, Stan? You work like you're still a part of this place. You can take a man out of the Mystery Shack, but you can never take the Mystery Shack out of a man, specifically me, which is why I'm back to work even though I don't have to. 30 years of the same routine will do that to you. What was your original vision? Vision? Make money. What other vision do you need? Over the years, I've used the mystery line for advertising. Who isn't curious? Who doesn't want to be amazed? Kids are the most skeptical of the bunch, though, let me tell you. Once they hit about 8 or 9, they love trying to prove it's all fake, and then they get older and realize there's nothing good left in the world unless you pretend there is, and everyone pretends along with you because they're all desperate. Then turns his attention back to the workspace, and you notice one more daunting selection of items that lay upon the table. It's not the number, but the variety that makes you unsure of how you're going to craft something out of this. Yeah, I don't know what you're going to do with this stuff. Surprise me. Stan walks off to the side, you guess, to do some work of his own. You're glad that he's not going to watch you the whole way through. How are you going to approach this? Piece together as many magic parts as you can find. Piece together as many disparate parts as you can find. Keep a nice mix of matched and mismatched. How should these parts you attach? Some hand stitching and really tile this all together. It's a stapler, it's faster. Hammer, nails, obviously. Try some hand stitching. You have a base to work off. What next? Add some sculpted details. Color in some of the fur to accent the googly eyes. Hey Stan, I'm finished. Good enough. Stan picks up your disturbing creation gingerly. So what's the story here? Give it to me. How do you want to approach this? Fact than fiction, more fiction than fact. Just have fun with it. It's a Fisquerin, a fish squirrel chicken. Stan nods appraisingly. Sounds like you got the hang of this. Alright, this thing's about to close. As close to show ready as it'll get. Wait here a sec. Stan carries the showpiece out of the room. After a few moments, you hear his footsteps. I thought he was talking. Return, he comes into the room with 2 cans of Pit Cola. Stan sets one down on the dining table, its condensation starting a slow drip onto the table's surface. He waves you over to join him, and you slide into the seat across from him. And like a cold one to finish up the day. Cheers! He picks up his can, gesturing towards you as he leans leisurely back in his chair, and you watch as he takes a sip. It's a nice-looking sip, and now you're staring. You pull over your own can and pop it open. Got any questions for me? Talking tends to ease me into a new place. I might do the same for you. How about Ford? Is Ford usually like that? You mean trying to fix what ain't broken and ended up making trouble? Nah, he was the good twin growing up. You were the troublemaker, I can tell. Stan laughs. You have no idea. About the exhibits. Showroom already seemed full when I saw it earlier. Why make more? Tourists love variety. Put up a sign advertising a new attraction. They'll come pouring through the doors. When I started this place, I didn't think I'd, like making these. Used to be just another thing that made me money. Now I'm stuck with it. Guess 30-something years of the routine will do that to a man. Stan sounds gruff, but it's a fond gruffness. Sixer says you're keeping keeping familiar habits helps too, so I've kept it up. You think I could sell some of these as art pieces? Yeah, probably, honestly. I could play them up to buyers and sell them at even more ridiculous prices than I usually would. Tell me about yourself. Stan laughs nervously. What is this, a first date? Pines, Stan Pines, Imaginator, town darling, used to be proprietor of the Mystery Shack. He pauses and stays paused. You give him an expectant look that wants him to continue, and he clears his throat nervous. Why, you were serious? I don't get this often. The longest I can go to get people to listen to me is when I'm selling them something, and even then it's tough luck. Last time someone listened to me, they tried to eat me. Can you believe that? I barely got that much meat left on me. And keep going, you can't just end it there. Stan gives an uncertain smile, which becomes a full-on grin, and he laughs. I had to tell you, so you see there's this irresistible thing called revenge. Stan tells you the tale of a road trip, a mountain full of mummies, and a woman who is secretly a spider. I feel like I forget this episode. You don't believe a word of it, but you find yourself enjoying it anyway. Stan knows how to hold his audience at a decent suspense, and he seems to light up whenever you laugh at the right parts, grinning along with you. Before today, you'd never even heard of Mr. Mystery before, but now you feel like you're really seeing something special here, one-on-one with the man himself. You're really interested in me, huh? Or do you ask that to ask everyone these kind of questions? I'm mainly interested in you. Alright, ever hear of smuggling pugs? No? Exactly, because everyone in the business is good at keeping secrets, real good. I'm telling you, I'm out of the business, I don't care. It absolutely isn't so that the authorities question you, it absolutely isn't so that if the authorities question you, you'll give false information that leads them off a trail. Right. Stan loads you up with false information that may or may not contain kernels of truth within them. It's surprisingly hard to tell whether the crazier parts are embellishment or the real deal. Stan tips his head back to that final sip of Pit, and then he empties his can down with an air of finality. Then sets his empty can down with an air of finality. Oh, you did good for your first try. Feel like helping more around here sometime? Returning the favor on the car? Let me know. You nod, Stan gets up to leave, and then you remember something. Wait, I still owe you the price of admission, right? For the tour earlier? Nah, don't worry about it. Gives you something to hold over you if I need it. He says that and he leaves, but even from what little you've seen from him, you feel like Stan's not the type to really hold that over you. At least, not for anything serious. The tourist trap might have more to offer than you thought. Oh god! It's just Mabel. Call the caterers, I hear wedding bells. Oh, looks like it's actually working out. It's cute. You wake up to a loud crash downstairs. Not entirely uncommon in this house, you're quickly finding out, but disconcerting. More clatters and thumps lead you to the kitchen, where Mabel teeters on a short stepladder in front of the pantry. Standing on her tiptoes, she reaches as high as she can for a small yellow box on the top shelf. Pancake mix. Without a word, you go to her side, pluck the box from the shelf for her, placing it into her outstretched hand. Oh, thank you! Grunkle Stan put it on the top shelf for some reason, but I need some Mabel cakes. It's a breakfast emergency. She waggles her free fingers in your face, and you can't help but laugh. You can tell the house has become more alive when this kid's around. Want to help me make them? We only need chocolate milk, coffee, pink food coloring, and pot o' gold O's to make the breakfast dream a breakfast reality. As delicious as that sounds, you're inclined to ask where coffee comes into the mix when you realize the house is suspiciously quiet. Where is everybody? Okay. I remember the road trip episode. I just, like, vaguely remember it. I don't fully remember it. I need to rewatch Gravity Falls. Grunkle Stan needed some stuff for your car, so he went in to get mechie techie stuff for that. I think Grunkle Ford's somewhere. He heard the abominable bro man was trying to steal soda from campers, so he went to help them out. Yep, that's where he went. Totally knew that. He left you guys to make breakfast on your own. You don't know the family well enough to know this is commonplace, so the idea of leaving two teenagers alone to fend for themselves seems fine, if one of the teenagers wasn't Mabel, anyway. You still don't know how coffee fits into her Mabel cakes, but now you don't really want to know. Dipper attempts to hide the pancake mix from Mabel while she's grabbing the chocolate milk from the fridge. Apparently, he doesn't want to find out either. Mabel, while your Mabel cakes sound absolutely divine, why don't we... Quick, think of something so you don't hurt her feelings. Go out? Actually, Dipper, can you cook? Maybe Dipper can help you make something different. We should save the Mabel cakes for another day, a more special day. But Mabel, still standing on the stepladder, reaches up and squishes your cheeks together, her wide eyes staring into your soul. Every day is a special day with Mabel cakes. No, yeah, no, I love Gravity Falls. I really should just rewatch it. Is there somewhere we can go out to get breakfast? Oh, we should really save the Mabel cakes till your great uncles get back. I know they wouldn't want to miss them. But I want to perfect my recipe. I have to get better at cooking and baking and stuff so I can survive out there in the world. What if in high school I have to bake stuff and people are all better than me? Mabel looks very agitated, tugging at her hair with both hands. If I can't make perfect Mabel cakes, I can never be on Bad Dreams Dining. I gotta impress Gerald Rambo, novice. It's my destiny. You glance at Dipper, making a please help me and I'll buy you breakfast face and hope that he understands. Yeah, I know you want to cook more since you're becoming an adult. Sure, but I don't think Grunkle Stan and Great Uncle Ford should, don't you think Grunkle Stan and Great Uncle Ford should be here to, try them too? And not just me, again? Mabel hops off the stepladder and ponders her brother's question, lips pursed. Eventually, she nods, beaming at you both. You're right, Dipper. I can't deny them that experience. You give Dipper a rightful smile over Mabel's head, and she puts the ingredients back in the refrigerator. He grins back at you, rubbing the back of his neck, but you wonder if he got that from one of his grunkles. That's clever now that you think about it. Great plus uncle to make grunkle. Saves time on syllables. We should go to Greasy's. They have some of the best pancakes there, with like 3 different kinds of syrup if you ask Lazy Susan nicely. Yeah, it's not that far. Let's go. Kids are about to head out of the kitchen when you realize something. Aren't you going to leave a note for your grunkles about where we're going? Oh, right. Good call. Dipper scribbles out a note for Stan and Ford and sticks it on the front door of the shack with one of Mabel's stickers. Night, Adam. These kids lead you the way towards town, explaining various landmarks, the wild and wonderful stories attached to them along the way. This is where we saw 2 ghostly old people. A convenience store? Strange, but you nod regardless. Maybe she just meant they were so old they looked like ghosts. Dipper points out a diner in the distance, log-shaped building on top of a train cart, and the 3 of you head inside. You soon realize the kids know just about everyone in this town. Several people, young and old, wave at them, and the 3 of you find a table. You get the feeling that they're almost famous in Gravity Falls, though you're not entirely sure why. They're pretty cute, though. Mabel blows the paper wrapper off her straw at Dipper's face, and then he retaliates by swatting her with a laminated menu. An elderly woman in pastel pink waitress dress comes up to the table, and you catch the name on her tag, Susan. Hiya, kids, and a stranger. What can I get for you? Pancakes and all 3 syrups for me, please, Lazy Susan. Same for me, actually. Lazy Susan turns to you, notepad in hand. I'll also get pancakes. Coming right up, sweetie. Lazy Susan winks with her good eye, of course, and heads to the back of the diner. The wait for your food to arrive feels longer here than most, mainly due to Mabel and Dipper using this time to interrogate you. At first, it's somewhat intimidating. You literally crashed into their house and have started hanging out with their great uncles, so they have lots of questions. Once the irrational fear of 2 13-year-olds fades out, you recognize their interview for what it really is. They care about their grunkles, and if you do start hanging out with them more, they want to know as much about you as possible. Mabel's questions are somewhat nonsensical. So if you were stranded on a desert island with no boat, no cheating, what would you take with you? Well, Dippers are more careful and calculated. What were you doing before you came here? School, work, or both? Neither? Did you know about Gravity Falls before you crashed into the shack? You immediately know which grunkle each twin takes after. Stan and Mabel, goofy partners in crime, versus the quiet brainiacs Ford and Dipper. It's an intriguing contrast, especially now that you're thrown into the middle of the bunch. But as the twins race to see which syrup bottle drips into their mouths the fastest, Dipper's blueberry syrup beats Mabel's classic maple by half a millisecond, you swear on it. You know that these kids do a lot more for the great uncles than just be their cute counterparts. And here we go, enjoy, kiddos. Let me know if you need anything else. Lazy Susan leaves out the respective plates, and the kids go quiet, shoveling down their food like they've never been fed before. Between mouthfuls, you get a few more questions about yourself and your theories on aliens versus which member of M Synchronized was your favorite, but the table's near silent as the 3 of you eat. That is until Mabel speaks up through a mouthful of pancake. So, if in a totally made-up, not real situation, you had to pick who your favorite was, who'd you pick, Grunkle Stan or Grunkle Ford? That seemed too planned compared to her other cutesy questions. Dipper elbows his sister not so subtly, and she elbows him right back, wide-eyed staring at him in a sibling-linked look that you can't decipher. Like, say you're in a movie, like one of those weird movies Grunkle Stan watches on TV with the ladies in the poofy dresses and the riding horses. Awfully specific, but you let her continue, taking another bite of your food. You're the main character of this movie, and you got 2 guys who are both madly in love with you. This one doesn't mess around with getting right to the point, huh? But you could only marry one of them, so you could be the next in line for the throne. What would you? If Grunkle Stan and Grunkle Ford were your choices, who would you get with? Mabel, that's kind of weird, isn't it? Like, really weird? Kind of gross? Come on, Dipper, this is important information. It's vital to my research. What research? None of your business yet, but I'm still gathering other research. Mabel leans towards Dipper's ear to whisper, waggling her eyebrows at you before she replies, in not a whisper, but quite the opposite. Research into how you're such a huge nerd. And with that, Mabel catapults a spoonful of melted butter from atop her pancakes onto Dipper's cheek with a very satisfying splat. Dipper jerks in disgust, but retaliates by smearing strawberry syrup into Mabel's nose and a drop of stickiness popping onto her sweater. Ew, gross! You're gross. There's no vitriol between the twins, but lots of giggles and a few more various food missiles. Eventually, the syrup streaks Mabel's cheekbones and some of her hair, and Dipper has a small piece of pancake stuck to his face. You guys are dorks. Maybe you're right, but we're twins, so it's adorable. If you say so, Mabel. Wait, quick! Take a picture of us while Dipper's got pancake on his face. I have what? He quickly swipes at his face, and then after several passes, gets it off. Oh, I was trying to get more candid pictures of us. Mabel, you have syrup everywhere. Really? It would have been a perfect photo. Let me get it. Your hands are sticky enough. You get back with a napkin in a hand and try to wipe off some of the syrup from Mabel's cheeks. The excess syrup swipes off easily, but a good portion doesn't budge. I mean, maybe the syrup as makeup is the next new look. That's one word for it, kid. We wondered where you guys went when we came back to a suspiciously quiet house. If it weren't for Dipper's note, we would have been worried. Sixer would have been worried. I tried to tell him you kids pull this stuff all the time, heading out unannounced, putting stresses on your poor old grunkle's heart. He puts his hand over his heart dramatically. All those missing hours of unpaid child labor. Actually, that note wasn't me. Well, I wrote it, but Novice is the one who said that we should so that you knew where we went. Both Ford and Stan turned to look at you surprised. Really? I figure these two knuckleheads dragged you here. Why not make breakfast at home? This place is at least a 15-minute walk from the shack. Well, he glanced at Dipper, swiping his finger across Mabel's cheek and licking blueberry syrup off. Mabel has a pancake in her mouth, chewing on it like a grazing sheep. I want to treat them to something, I guess. It's the least I can do. You're letting me stay with you and fixing my car, and I thought since you were gone, I'd take these two out for a change. So Mabel was gonna make Mabel. Also, Mabel was gonna make Mabel cakes again. You're just mad because you can't even make toast right. Yeah, yes, I can. I burned it one time. One time. Dipper holds his syrup-tipped finger in the air, indignant. Well, Mabel wanted you guys to enjoy our Mabel cakes too, so, and since there wasn't much food, I figured I'd take them out. Ford asked Mabel about her creation, wondering how much extra caffeine one could gain from adding instant coffee to the concoction, but Stan stays quiet. You can catch out of the corner of your eye he's staring at you, a lopsided smile tugging at the corner of his mouth. Thanks. Appreciate it. It's no problem at all. You smile warmly at Stan despite the heat spreading over your cheeks, but he's rubbing the back of his neck, looking down on his feet. Mabel throws a theoretical wink your way. You're not sure why. Well, kid, if you're paying, scoot over, Dipper. I want breakfast too. Stanley, it's at least 12:30 now. Brooke Ford, that means it's time for brunch, duh. See, this kid gets me. Let me get in so I can get some grub. Dipper moves to the side of the booth as Stan sits next to Mabel and Ford sits at Dipper's side. Lazy Susan comes back and takes orders for another round of food and drinks for everyone, including Mabel, who's decided she wants more pancakes. You're starting to regret offering to pay, but as Stan and Mabel try their hand at the syrup drip race with Dipper cheering them on, Ford watches with a wide grin on his face, and you know you really don't mind that much. Over the next few days, you continue to help out around the Mystery Shack. Not of obligation, but because you have nothing better to do. Besides, Seuss, practically the golden retriever of people, is really digging the input on the current installments from an outsider's perspective. Bless his soul, the guy even offered you a job if you end up stranded here forever, dude. You need to make a life for yourself. Stanley nearly choked on his ice pop as he overheard. Thinking about it now, the relationship between Seuss and Stan is unexpected, if not a little odd, but it makes you smile that no matter how many times Stan may roll his eyes as he does it, he always helps out Seuss get something done just right. Showered and dressed, you go outside as per usual, but you don't see anyone. After a few minutes of search, you find Stan standing with his back to you in one of the exhibit rooms, admiring the weird and wonderful animal amalgamates he's collected for his tourist trap, and a hand in chin in thought. Am I interrupting something important between you and the gooserky? Stan turns around at the sound of your voice, smiling. Nope, need something? Have any plans for tonight? He mulls over your question a few moments, giving you an assessing look up and down. I got a couple errands to run. Why, you want to tag along? Only if you need a partner in crime. Stan blinks in surprise. Ow, what are you, psychic? Wait, really? I was just a figure of speech, but I guess you should have known better. Alright, I'm heading out in a couple hours. Meet me out front. Couple hours, but no buts. You can't rush this stuff, trust me. Okay, sure. Not ominous at all, Stan. Yeah, meet you out front if you think you can handle it. He turns to go, but stops for a second and then turns back. Oh, and wear black. Something you don't mind getting dirty. And before you can ask why, he's gone into the depths of the shack. A couple hours turns into a handful, which you pass by watching some TV with Mabel and Dipper dozing off. You have no idea what kind of satellite they get out here, but the shows now are some of the most bizarre programming you've ever seen. Once you've had enough of waiting, you change into your darkest clothes and sit out on the front steps of the shack, watching as the sun starts to sink past the trees. It's cloudy and unusually warm for this time of day, but there's a nice breeze out. It's strange that these errands need to happen so late in the day, considering these things you've gathered about his criminal past. However, maybe this is a typical weekday night for Stan. The screen door creaks out, comes Stan dressed in all black just like you are, with a lumpy duffel bag over one arm and a briefcase in the other hand. As he's about to speak, a sudden gust of wind comes from along and ruffles his hair, and he smooths it down irritatedly before regaining his cool and nodding at you. Ready? Ready. You slide into the passenger seat as Stan settles into the driver's seat. It takes on a couple of tries to start, but the engine's chugging away by the time you've got your seatbelt on. The radio stammers to life as the engine does, spitting out generic-sounding rock music into the leather-scented air of the car's interior. After a moment spent adjusting the mirrors, fiddling with knobs, Stan slots the gear shift into drive and pulls out of the mystery shacks a lot and down the road to town. Radio's on, and Stan taps his fingers on the steering wheel to the beat of the music while he drives. So I take it we're not making a quick trip for milk and eggs? He laughs and glances over at you. Nope. Where are we going? First stop, see a buddy of mine, a hunter. You get all my taxidermy supplies from him. That's where you get your parts from? Yeah. I just figured you got them all from a local farm or something. And do business with those hippies? Not a chance. Well, I really enjoyed making that showpiece with you the other day. I had no idea you were so creative. He glances over at you with poorly hidden surprise, turning almost immediately back to the road and shrugging. It's just gluing stuff together, really. That's one way to talk about it. You have any other hobbies? He rolls his shoulders back in a shrug, his head tilting a bit backwards towards the window. Well, these days I spend most of my time out on the boat with Ford, hunting monsters, discovering things. He pauses, watching down the road with that expression. I used to box. It shows. He looks at you again, grinning. That's amazing. I wish I had grown up doing something like that. I wouldn't mind showing you a few things if you wanted. I don't think I'd be very good at it. Hey, with me teaching you, you'll be throwing a mean left hook in no time. After about 20 minutes of rural scenery, Stan pulls off the road to a long gravel driveway that disappears into the woods. This is the place? Stan nods and rounds a turn to reveal a clearing populated by a trailer home and a couple of sheds. The trailer is a bit run down and shabby, and one of the sheds looks like it's about one strong sneeze away from collapsing. Not really the place you want to be at night, while alone, with a guy you practically just met? Be honest, did you bring me here to murder me? Stan laughs, cutting the engine and resting his arm on the back of the front seat. Unfortunately, you figured it out, so now I definitely gotta kill you. I'm kid, relax. He moves to get out of the car and then turns back with a creaky, blank expression on his face. Or am I? You chuckle nervously and he laughs again, pushing the door open. Seriously, I'm kidding, it won't be long. At the door to the trailer, Stan knocks and the door opens on a dark interior before he walks inside. The door shuts behind him. You give the yard a few curious glances before realizing the weird pile of sticks you've been looking at is actually bones. You quickly pull out your phone to look at it instead. 10 minutes later, and Stan's back, carrying a large cardboard box in hand. You can see him fumble with the handle of the rear door for a moment, and you reach back over the seat to pop it open for him. Peek in the box reveals a few shades of furry somethings and an animal skull you don't recognize. This doesn't seem like it something worth busting out all your darkest duds for. We aren't by any chance robbing a bank, are we? Because I would have brought gloves. Stan laughs. No, nothing like that. He starts up the car again, and you're back on the road. Somehow I'm not quite convinced. Who knows where the night's gonna take us. Could be legal, could be not. Is that a problem? Can we swing by a jeweler? I need a new watch. You're a riot, kid. Stan takes the highway, the final minutes of sunset burnt orange and purple ahead of you, while the welcome sign for Gravity Falls disappears in the rearview mirror. A new song comes on the radio, something bright and bouncy with lyrics about love, and his fingers get to tapping. In the retreating light, you can see faded patches of the rim of the steering wheel, the color worn away from decades worth of his touch. The passenger seat you sit in hasn't yet taken on the shape of someone specific. Even after all this time, its springs still feel brand new. Meanwhile, on the driver's side of the car, Stan settled in easy to his seat, which fits him as well as a finely tailored jacket. You tug your leg up under its mate, leaning back into the dark leather of the DeVille's interior, and watch as cars pass and recede in the windshield. After a few minutes of music-backed silence, you feel like breaking it. You from Oregon originally? Nah, from out east, Jersey, a little town called Glass Shard Beach. Oh yes, name your town after something dangerous. That'll bring tourists in. You'd be surprised. What's it like? He shrugs. Why move out here? It's a long story. His voice is quiet, and he watches the road ahead with intense focus, but the expression doesn't last long before he brightens his smile over at you. You don't want to hear it anyways. You know, my granddad had the heart of a lion. Stan glances over at you, momentarily confused as to why you're bringing this up. And a lifetime ban from the zoo. Stan laughs. That's pretty good. He thinks for a moment, presumably to come up with a joke of his own. Alright, a blonde walks into a bank in New York City. Oh, this isn't gonna be one of those awful blondes are dumb jokes, is it? He levels a withering look on you. Can I tell the joke? I don't know, can you? You grin with your lower lip caught between your teeth. You're clearly joking, and he chuckles. Anyways, blonde walks into a bank in New York. She goes to the bank manager, and she says, I'd like to take a loan out for $5,000. I'm taking a vacation overseas. Car passes you on the highway, going 20 over the speed limit. Stan swears and then stifles it. Yeesh, night drivers. So the bank manager goes, well, miss, do you have collateral? We need collateral for that kind of loan. And she says she does, and she takes the bank manager out to the parking lot where she's got a $50,000 Ferrari waiting, and she says, this is my car, you can hold on to it until I pay back my loan. Stan continues glancing over at you, trying to suppress a smile. The bank manager's confused, but he figures if the lady doesn't pay, he's gonna have a nice new Ferrari at his garage, so he agrees. Sign for an exit ahead points off to the right, the text reading County Road 328, and Stan takes it off the highway. So he gives the blonde her 5G, she hands him the keys to the car, and she heads off for Europe. A month later, she shows back up at the bank with the 5Gs and the interest for the loan, with figures about, out to about $15. He continues traveling down an unlit gravel road, the headlights casting spooky shadows through the trees. Bank manager, was there like eyes in the background? I think there's something in the background. Oh, there's like a log. Bank manager takes their payment for the loan and the interest, and has one of the employees bring the car out front, the bank for the blonde. Out ahead on the road, the deer turns his face to the car and leaves across the road to disappear into the woods. Just before she leaves, the bank manager stops the blonde and says, Lady, I'm real confused here. You clearly loaded enough to afford this car, and you paid back the loan and then some. Why take out the loan if you're so rich? And the lady turns to him, runs a hand through her hair, and says, where else can I park my car in New York City for 2 weeks for only $15? You burst into wild laughter, and he laughs along with you. Alright, I take it back. That was the best blonde joke I've ever heard in my life. As you finish speaking, Stan pulls off to the side of the road and the engine dies. As you step out of the car, the unearthly silence of the woods envelops the two of you. Out in the woods ahead, you see a single bright light. This the place? Just about. You follow him back towards the trunk, which he opens quietly, slowly, frowning as it squeaks. What are we doing here? You, might not guess looking at me, but I got a thing. Two of you stare at each other for a moment. He looks a little nervous. For art. Is that all? It's pretty cool. He brightens, smiling at the dim haze of the trunk light. Well, the trunk of this hill here is has won by this artist Gustav Kolnigs. Snuck it from right out under me at an auction. I've been trying to buy it all for years, but the jerk won't sell it no matter how much I offer him. And trust me, you meet the guy, you know it's out of spite. So we're stealing it? You got it, kid. Frankly, I'm surprised you haven't done this sooner. Stan laughs quietly, fishing around his duffel bag for you don't know what. Wait till you see it. It's a masterpiece. I've been waiting 6 months for him to go out of town. Here, take these. He pulls a pair of gloves from the bag, handing them to you. When you slide them on, they fit almost perfectly. I guess your size, right? You nod, wiggling your fingers. Stan chuckles, pulling on a pair of his own. A set of black leather driving gloves with the silver snap closures that glint in the light from the truck. You ready, kid? As I'll ever be. Stan tucks a few things into the inner pockets of his jacket you can't see in the low light, and with the trunk shut just as quietly as when it was opened, you follow him through the woods towards the distant light. As you near it, the porch takes shape with the light's glow. Behind it, the dark shape of a house sits in even darker woods. Stan leads you past the front porch and around the corner of his house as if to to a set of stairs that appears to lead into a basement. Ah, this is my favorite part. He withdraws a small black shape from his pocket and something that looks like it might be a pen. The pen-shaped thing turns out to be a small flashlight, and he holds them in his teeth. He opens the black case to reveal a set of lockpicking tools. You're a lucky person, kid. You get to see the artist in action. He gets to work, inserting one tool in and wiggling down the bottom of the keyhole, and then pulling on another and poking at the innards of the lock with it. You glance around the darkness as he works, half expecting to get caught before you get anywhere. But just then the lock clicks and Stan stands, opening the door in front of you with a flourish. That was so cool. He beams with pride and he smiles politely as he steps through the front of the door in front of him. The basement's unlit. It smells like dust and mildew, and the air is sour with wet dirt and mold. Stan moves past you into the dark, his little pen flashlight still lit, and leads you through a cobwebby laundry room towards a door across the bottom of a set of rickety wooden stairs. Wait till you see this, kid. He picks the lock with off this door just as quickly as he picked the last, and the door creaks open to a dark room with odd flooring barely lit by Stan's flashlight. Stan goes first, and you follow him as he hits a light switch, revealing a beautifully designed gallery with plush scarlet carpets and gleaming wood paneling full of paintings of sad clowns. Stan looks more excited than you've seen him yet, his arms crossed over his chest and a warm smile on his face. Can you believe that hillbilly chump has a collection like this? You shake your head slowly, looking around the room with wide eyes. Someday all these are gonna be mine. Come on, I'll show you one we're here to get. You follow into the back of the room, and he stops in front of a large painting of a clown with bright red lips and blue circles under his cheeks, the eyes outlined in black with comically large eyelashes painted on his lids. His neck ruffles and drops sadly, and his costume is dingy and worn. What do you think? It's a little creepy. Kind of a niche thing, sir. Well, let's get this thing off the wall and get out of here. After he works to get the clown egg off the wall, you wander the room looking at the other paintings. As you look over a portrait of a mime with dirt on his white and black striped shirt, you're suddenly grabbed by your shoulders. Boo! Ah! You scream, eyes shut in fear as you throw a weak karate chop at the source of the noise, making unimpressive contact with something solid and muscular. After a moment's panic, you realize the thing is with your hands and open your eyes, finding... Was that supposed to hurt me? Stan's arm and shoulder. Boy, he's really packing some heat in there, wow. He laughs, apparently very pleased with himself for scaring the absolute life out of you. You need these boxing tips even more than I thought. You couldn't defend yourself with a fly with moves like that. You laugh shakily, and it's then you realize that you're still feeling up Stan's arm. Sorry about that. You pull your hands away a bit too fast, and he chuckles, flushing all the way up to his ears. No problem, kid. Clears his throat, and the silence between you begins to grow awkward before it's interrupted. Upstairs, in what's supposed to be an empty house, you hear footsteps crossing towards the door to the basement. Stan apparently hears them too, a sudden series of expressions crossing his face from shock to confusion to terror and finally settling on indignation. He quickly takes you by the arm, whispering harshly in your ear as he drags you towards the entrance of the clown room. As soon as he comes here, shut the door, and I'll shove these boxes in front. You nod, just the line of sight from the top of the stairs booms into a wide swath. You and Stan duck behind a wall near the door to freedom, one corner of the stolen painting poking you uncomfortably in the ribs. Who's down there? Slipper feet come down the wooden steps ahead of you, and when their owner notices the lights on, he holds something long and gun-shaped out in front of himself. Pines, if that's you, I swear to God, I'm really gonna shoot you this time. Gun-shaped? Gun-shaped? Gun? Gun! Stan nudges you, jabbing a thumb towards the door leading outside, and jerks his head towards it. You take a step out from behind the wall, Stan's hand in your own, and pull him into a jog and then a run. The two of you scrambling up the concrete steps and into the cool night air as the voice shouts swears behind both of you. Stan kicks the door shut on his way out, and there's a startled yelp behind it as he makes contact with the owner of the house. There's more swearing, but you lose it behind you as you run, flashlight in one hand, Stan's hand in the other. When you reach the tree line, you part and maneuver your way through the bushes of brambles, Stan crashing through them behind you. As you run, a deafening gunshot goes off behind you, and you realize you're being chased. Holy smokes, run for it! The noise gets closer, close enough that you can hear your pursuer swearing constantly and loudly. You slow a bit, flashing your light behind you as you and raising the beam to find a distant but visibly enraged face of a man with a rifle in his hands. Acting on pure instinct, you fling the flashlight in the direction of the angry man and take off running again. After a moment, the man cries out, and the sound of pursuit fades with one final cry. Damn you, Pines! Stan cackles. Sounds like you got him. You reach the Stanmobile first, sliding into the passenger seat as Stan slips on his new clown egg into the back seat before joining you in the front. Both of you panting and huffing. Stan hurriedly starts the engine and pulls off. At the next driveway, he does the fastest three-point turn you've ever seen in your life, and then peels down the gravel road and screeches out into the highway. Stands quiet for a second before letting loose a wild, triumphant laughter. I thought he was gonna catch me that time for sure. Did a man just shoot at us? Stan nods, chuckling and apparently pretty pleased he didn't get hit. He lets out a long, loud sigh, his white-knuckled hands at 10 and 2 on the steering wheel. Yeah, I was... Holy moly, you okay? I'll let you know when I find out. Pulls back onto the highway, back in the direction you came from, and you lapse into comfortable silence. After a while, he starts humming along with the radio, knowing the song this time you hung along with him. Gravity Falls welcome sign passes by again, but the route Stan's taking doesn't seem to lead back to the shack. Instead, you come to a stop outside rows and rows of used cars, a car dealership. Stan slides out of the car, withdrawing something from a pocket within the breast of his jacket. Once you get out around the front bumper, you can see that it's a cigar. You mind if I smoke? Yeah, go ahead. Thanks, I don't like smoking around the kids, you know. I'm already a bad enough influence. He chuckles and withdraws a pack of matches from his pocket, and his face is bathed in the light of the flame. From your place a ways down the road, Stan surveys the lot, eyes sweeping back and forth, until they land on what looks like to be a fuse box under the dark overhang of the roof on the far side of the dealership. What are we gutting? New drive belt, some spark plugs, a couple other things I can't remember the name of and aren't worth explaining. It won't take all night though, right? He shakes his head, taking a long drag from the cigar and smoke rolling off his lips into the night. You lean back against the front bumper of the car next to him and stuff your hands into your pockets. There isn't much light pollution around here, so the stars are bright and numerous above. Provided your car gets fixed up, this might not turn out to be such a bad trip. You take a deep breath through your nose, smell sweet, heady cigar, smoking crisp night air fill your lungs. So how are we doing this? You gotta get rid of the lights. I doubt Bud's clever enough to have night vision cameras. I forgot it's the Gleeful's run a car dealership. I forgot about that. Gotta get rid of the lights. I doubt Bud's night vision cameras. He laughs a little as he speaks, smoke billowing out into the night with each individual laugh. But we can get the power to the whole place, and the cameras are going to be gone anyways. So we got the power, find a car, the same make and model as yours, and I dig out the parts your car needs. An hour maybe, hour and a half tops. I can get the lights. Stan turns his head and looks at you, waving away a fresh cloud of smoke as he accidentally exhales in your direction. You sure? No, but I can try if you explain it to me. Get in the fuse box and just flip the biggest switch. Easy, like you see in the movies. Two of you stand there in silence for a few more minutes before he bends down and grinds the cigar into the asphalt, straightening with a groan and a huff of quiet laughter. He's starting to remember why I quit doing this kind of thing. You sure you're alright with this kid? You know, robbing the place? You don't think I could do it? No, that's not it. You've been keeping up with me just fine all night. You don't seem like you had a lot of, you just don't seem like you have a lot of experience here. I think I've gotten plenty of experience tonight alone. He smiles, warm and genuine expression that ignites something fuzzy and soft inside of you. You don't notice it till you're staring that he turns away and moves towards the trunk. He reaches into the car and pulls a lever under the driver's seat side, the front seat, and the trunk pops open. You follow him to it. After rummaging around the contents for a minute, he brings out a pair of pliers. Alright, you go over there and take care of the lights. I got a few things to get together. Crouch down behind the fence when you reach the lot, scrambling along in the shadows. You reach the dealership's main building. With a peek over the edge, you see the wall of the building is cast in shadow from a poorly placed streetlight. Another peek, you spot a car the same make and models make as yours off to the back lot near a sign that says Discount Section Big Deals. It takes an embarrassing amount of effort to get over the fence, but you manage it and press yourself flat against the wall, inching towards the fuse box. It's locked, but you pry it open with the pliers and look over what's inside. A bunch of switches, some wires. Flip the biggest switch. your face pinched in concentration, you push the biggest switch in the opposite direction. The entire property goes dark. You slip the tools into your back pocket and take a look around just to make sure the power's out. With a satisfied nod, you find your way into the parking lot, knocking your shins out on 3 tipper cars before you figure you should probably just stop and wait for Stan. Where are you at, kid? His voice isn't far away, but he isn't close either. You feel your way around an SUV, a sedan? The gravel in the parking lot crunches under your feet, and you reflexively stare down at the ground ahead of you as your eyes slowly adjust to the darkness. Ahead of you, a flashlight turns to scan the lot till it finds you. Found ya. He sounds amused, probably at the way you're standing with your arms spread wide over the sleek modern sports car. Getting familiar with the merchandise, are ya? You give the car an awkward pat and make your way towards the beginning of the flashlight's beam. See anything the same make as yours before you shut the lights off? Yeah, there's one back in the discount section. It's kind of insulting now that you think about it, actually. He hands you the flashlight when you reach him, and you start to slowly head back towards the discount cars. Discount. Your car, it's a classic. It's usually extremely reliable. To be perfectly honest, it's not even your fault that it's in the state it's in. It was Ford and his whatever it is. You're deep in salty thoughts when a hand suddenly grips your ribs on either side. Gotcha! Ah! You scream and throw back an elbow at whatever's got a hold of you. You hear Stan yelp and fall on a clatter of kicked gravel and metal clanking together. He scared you again. I gotcha that time. Holy smokes, kid. You turn the flashlight to where you heard him fall, and you find him with a hand cupped over his face, blood dripping out from between his gloved fingers. Yeah, I deserved that one. Oh shit, I'm really sorry. I'll be alright. Just help me up. You tuck the still lit flashlight into your back pocket for a moment, reaching down and finding his hands in the dark to pull him up. Once he's on his feet, you retrieve the flashlight from your pocket, and you bring the beam to Stan's face. You find him holding back a handkerchief over his nose and squinting. He's apparently brought a backpack with him, and it's sitting on the ground behind where he presumably dropped it when you elbowed him. You know, that was a really solid hit. You got a lot of power in there. I don't know if you were just saying it to be nice earlier, but I really could show you some moves, teach you how to direct that strength. This isn't the time. You're bleeding everywhere. He removes a hanky from his nose for a moment, gently prodding at the bridge of his nose with the finger and frowns. It's not broken, that's for sure. That's good. He laughs quietly, taking a clean corner of the handkerchief and dabbing his nose with it, grimacing and sniffling hard when he comes back still clean. Good to go. You sure you're alright? Yeah, of course. I got worse beatings than that, believe me. His face is flushed from the sudden injury, but he does look otherwise okay, and you sigh and plant your hands on your hips. Let's finish this. He reaches out towards you, and then you catch a glimpse of the blood, and he reconsiders, wiping his gloves clean as he can with the hanky. When you reach the car you spotted earlier, he pops the hood and drops his pack on the ground next to the bumper, unzipping it to reveal a jumble of various wrenches and tools. Alright, hold the flashlight steady on the engine and keep an eye out. Watch him work just for a minute. Keeping a lookout is definitely important, you think, as he rolls up his sleeves and exposes his sturdy, well-muscled forearms. I didn't mean to... That's... Wow. His gloved hands take deliberate, practiced movements without hesitation, zeroing in on spark plugs immediately. He bends over the front of the car, his jacket riding up his back as he stretches to grab a deeply set part, and you can catch one glimpse of skin before you hastily turn your attention back to the lot in front of you. You're suddenly very glad it's dark as you feel blush spread over your face all the way to your ears. It doesn't take long for him to get what he needs for your car, shutting the hood and setting his pack on it as he stuffed parts into it. That was quick. Nah, the parts you needed are easy to find, just takes the right... What's going on over there? That you, bud? The beam of a flashlight finds you both. Stan turns around quickly, leaving the bag behind himself on the hood. Yeah? Pines, what the heck happened to your face? What are you doing at... Hey, are you stealing parts again? No. Stan inches closer to you until your shoulders touch, and behind you, he pushes the bag into your hands before lowering his voice to speak to you. Run for it. Keep the bag out of sight and toss it into some bushes nearby. I'll get it later. You nod, picking up the bag and holding it behind yourself. Flashlight by the road moves closer, and you slowly scoot away from the car and backwards. Hey, where you going? You move back a little faster, still keeping the bag out of sight, and when the light leaves you to check on Stan, you make a break for it towards the back fence, throwing the bag over ahead of you. A new voice nearby speaks and you yelp. Where are you going, burglar? You're under arrest for burglary! There's a shout from Stan behind you, and then a heavy thud, and one car alarm starts squealing. You're so surprised by the alarm that the second cop gets his hands around your wrists and slaps a pair of handcuffs on you. You better quit your squirming there, buddy. We caught you fair and square. I don't know which... Come on, Blubs. I saved the town from an interdimensional demon. Give me a break. Sorry, Stan. We got a job to do. Stan grumbles quietly, and the man behind you leads you towards the row behind Stan and Blubs, who's now got him in cuffs. You need to get out of this, but how? Try and grab something off his belt is a little less dangerous. You close the space between you and the cop behind you. Once something moves between your fingers, you grab at it. Bringing back, well, you're not sure what it is, but it feels like it's cold and metal, so you slip it into your back pocket. Ah, shoot, Derlin, we don't have the cruiser. Me and my ideas for romantic strolls in the moonlight. Why don't we just commandeer Stan's car? Do you mean commandeer? I don't know. Edwin Derlin, you're an absolute delight, and I cherish having you as my life partner. I keep on hitting that button. Derlin giggles behind you, and Blubs giggles with him. The two of them push you and stand into the back of the car, crowding you in with the clown egg. Stan grips it protectively, muttering under his breath about the fuzz. He's quiet for most of the ride, only speaking up once. You okay? I mean, I'm okay as I can be since I've been arrested. He falls silent after you respond and stays that way all the way back to the station. Inside the station, Derlin leads you to a pair of chairs by a desk, and Blubs disappears down a hallway. Blubs is back after a few minutes, and a deep frown sets into his face, and after directing his frown at Derlin, he takes you and Stan down another hallway to a set of cells. At first, he withdraws a set of keys and opens the door. You and Stan are uncuffed, and with a solid and somewhat alarming clang, the cell doors shut and lock. You two better get comfortable. We'll get your prints in the morning. Stan grumbles, setting down one of the provided bunk beds, and you sit down on the one next to it, facing him. He peels off his gloves, tucking them inside out into his pockets, and fiddles with a loose thread on the thin wool blanket of the bunk bed. Though the door at the end of the hallway, you hear Derlin say something about fancy black finger paints to Blubs. Here in the bright fluorescent lights, you can see that he still has a bit of blood smeared under his nose, under his chin, and on his chin. You feel a flush of embarrassment when you remember that you're the one who did that to him. Well, this is not so great. You can say that again. How are we gonna get out of here? Stan shrugs, crossing his arms over his chest and flopping back on the mattress. Don't think we can, kid. I'll see if I can convince them that you got hypnotized or something into coming along with me, keep you out of trouble. Listen, if you're going down, then so am I. He laughs quietly, propping himself up on his elbows. You don't want to get in trouble with the law, kid, trust me. This ain't my first time spending the night in jail, not by a long shot. Sounds rough. Yeah, well, so it goes. This won't be so bad compared to 5 years in a Colombian prison. There's a story behind that, but he doesn't look like he wants to tell it at the moment. Anyway, the only way we're getting out of here is with the keys. Then we could just slip out a window or something. You think for a moment, stuffing your hands in your pockets, and remember the thing that you grabbed off the second cop, Derland. Oh, wait. You jump to your feet and dip back into your pocket, withdrawing the small metal thing you stole to find that it's a set of car keys on a plastic keepsake photo fob. Stan's not looking, staring down at the floors of the cell instead, but you think you know what to do with these. You go up to the bars of the cell looking for Derland. Hey, can you let me out? Hey, can you hear me out there? You dropped your car keys. Faint discussion in the other room stops, and a moment later, Derlin comes into view. Where'd you get my keepsake key fob? I've been looking for that. You hold it out through the bars with both hands. As he reaches for his key fob, you reach out to his belt with your right hand and unclip the ring of keys from his belt. He doesn't notice. Derlin thanks you for returning his key fob and gives both you and Stan a scrutinizing stare before heading back down the hallway and through the door. You hold the keys out in front of yourself and jingle them triumphantly. Look what I got off Derland. Stan stares at your hand in disbelief, and then at you and the keys, and back to you again before laughing incredulously. You sure don't have experience with this kind of thing? Stan takes the keys from you without looking them over in his palm. He smiles up at you, and then looks down at the keys and covers his mouth with his hand, dragging it down over his chin. Can't believe I've been shown up by a tourist. Get used to it, buddy, because I got skills. He looks so proud, smiling up at you like you just handed him $1 million. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's get the heck out of here. He stands as you reach through the bars and try keys until one works. The door swings open with a quiet creak, and you creep out down the hallway to the door. You open it a crack, looking into the lobby and see Blubs asleep at the front desk and Durlin not in sight. Slowly, you pull the door open and move into the lobby. Stan taps your shoulder and whispers low. We gotta get my keys. You see him anywhere? You glance around and spot him next to where Blubs is asleep, a drool pooling on the table. Shoot. Crossing your fingers for luck, you sneak over the desk and reach down to grab them when suddenly Blubs stirs and mumbles, Dang, Bigfoot stealing my shoes, stretching all my shoes. Stan snorts behind you and you manage to suppress a laugh and you pluck the keys away. Wait, hold on. Stan disappears into another room and you're stunned, wondering what the hell you could be doing right now that's more important than escaping. Where you have the chance to call him something you might regret later, he reappears in the door with a troublesome clown painting under his arm. Seriously? Duh. Alright, let's roll. Slipping out with only a click of the station doors closing behind you, you and Stan climb into his car and escape into the night. After stopping by Bud's dealership to pick up the hidden backpack, you and your partner in crime head back to the shack in comfortable silence. You'd feel tired if it weren't for the adrenaline. You carry the backpack inside while Stan brings in the clown egg and the briefcase, setting both on the kitchen table. I'd call that a successful night. Even though we got arrested, so would I. A fun one, too. You grin over at him and realize in the bright kitchen light that he's still got blood on his face. How do you keep forgetting? You're the one who elbowed him, after all. We've got... Oh, come here. You pull one of the chairs up from under the table, gesturing for him to sit down. Oh my god, full cinematic. He looks a bit weary, but obeys, the chair's ancient metal frame creaking under its weight. You grab a couple paper towels, turning to the faucet in the sink and wetting them. Let's clean him up. Mentally steadying yourself, you hold the side of his face and neck in hand. With gentle pressure, you guide his head to tilt back until he's lit up fully by the overhead light. You can feel him blush under your hand, skin heating up, and then he seems too surprised to protest or even speak to you as you wipe the now dry blood from his face. He's quiet while you work, watching you with warm brown eyes rimmed by dark lashes. I should have taken care of this myself, you know. He says this, but he hasn't pulled away or make any move to leave. I did the damage. The least I could do is clean up after myself. Anyway, you've done plenty as it is. The paper towels you have become too spoiled to work with, so you toss them into the trash and go back to grab a few more. Your hand turns to his cheek, and you could be imagining things, but it almost feels like he leans into it. I really did have a good time with you tonight. I had no idea crime could be so fun. He smirks, avoiding your gaze. Yeah, I had a good time too. You pause for a moment, realizing something. Those cops aren't gonna come after us, are they? Stan shrugs. Probably not. They're nice enough guys, they're not exactly competent. You laugh quietly and he smirks up at you. You stand back to make sure you're finished. Toss the paper towels in the trash. You sure it's not broken? Nah, I'm fine, don't worry about it. Hand lingers on his cheek. I'ma hug him. She can afford to find a deep breath, lean down, wrapping your arms around him. Thanks. For the car parts. You pull away and he's got a funny look on his face. And for the good time. Well, good night. He stares at you for a moment with that look on his face and then composes himself and gives you a goofy smile. Sleep tight. It was too early, wasn't it? I shouldn't have done it. It was too early. You brush your teeth and change to your pajamas, and it's not until you get to bed that you realize you're still smiling. The rush from it all hasn't completely faded, but after a while, your eyes grow heavy and you drift off to sleep. Nobody back home is ever going to believe this. Someone thumps their fist in the storage room door, stirring you from sleep with a jolt and a thud as you fall on the mattress. Scrambling to your feet, you step over to the door and swing it open wide. I need your help! It's at this moment that you look down and see Waddles swaddled in her arms, wearing a top hat and a small bow tie. What? Why is Waddles looking so dapper? He does look pretty dashing, doesn't he? Oh, wait, we're not here to dish out compliments. It's an emergency. I love emergency. Mabel stares up at you with wide eyes, her little arms unmoving as Waddles attempts to wiggle free from her grasp. This kid's stronger than she looks. Knowing Mabel, this could mean that she has a new crush. From what Dipper told you, she's still deeply rooted in her boy-crazy phase. Or she desperately wants to wed Waddles to some unsuspecting critter outside. Waddles and Grompers are renewing their vows today, and I can't find Grompers to put his gown on. You gotta help me find him. You weren't actually expecting your second guess to be right. Okay, wait, Mabel, just calm down for a second. We have to find Grompers and ceremonies in 20 minutes. Waddles wiggles himself free and runs down the hallway to freedom, ignoring Mabel's shriek of protest as she chases him. You're compelled to go back to bed, deciding it's almost definitely a dream, but after a jog, jog after Mabel regardless. You catch sight of Mabel just leaps over Dipper, who's sitting on the floor with a large array of graph paper and chewed pencils. She runs to the back door, suspiciously open, after Waddle's snorting self, yelling at him to not lose his tie. Mabel, what's going on? Waddles? Wedding? Grompers? You're a little out of breath. Mabel's fast. Dipper smacks his forehead, dragging it down to his face dramatically. Course, she told me they're renewing vows or something. They got married last summer, but she misses the pizzazz of weddings. Dipper looks nonplussed, but you can tell that he's at least a little invested. Are you gonna help her with whatever that was? I don't even want to imagine this marriage failing. And with that, you run past him, Dipper's stutters of surprise growing fainter as you head outside. Mabel's already a ways away from you, but you bust out of the shack's backyard. Fortunately, Stan and Ford are nowhere to be in sight. You're not sure what you'd think of them finding you searching for a goat bride as Mabel calls out to lure Grompers home. Come on, Grompers, I've already booked the second honeymoon and caterers are gonna be mad. Runaway brides are so cliche. She's seriously invested in this farm critter marriage. That, or she's watched way too many dramatic romance movies. Or both. Grompers, come on, goat pal, where are you? You hear Dipper head towards Mabel to help her look, so you veer the opposite, opting to cover more ground in search of her runaway goat bride. Roof? You walk backwards, then put a hand to your brow, shielding your eyes from the sun as you search the scaffolding of the shack. Nothing. You continue walking to the side now until rays of sunlight obscure the view of the above sign for the gift shop. Rather serendipitously, a cloud glides overhead to block the sun. You're able to look up higher, seeing the misplaced lettering with the various wear and tear on the roof, and a small billy goat munching on part of the weather vane. Wait. Hey, Mabel! Yeah? Going to the roof, up to the roof at Grompers. Here comes the bride. Mabel shrieks Grompers and then sprints into the gift shop, slamming the door open so hard the open sign flips to closed. There's silence for a moment, and then something flips open on the door's roof, a small balcony, and Mabel pops out from underneath, climbing up onto the roof and attempting to coax Grompers down. There's a ladder up to that balcony thing inside the gift shop. It's pretty cool for fireworks. Mabel pulls a sandwich from her sleeve. You can't help but imagine what else she has up there, and waves it in Gromper's direction. And he trots towards the balcony, hopping down to Mabel's level and snatching the sandwich from her hand. She grabs the goat and heads back down the ladder into the gift shop. Oh, Grompers, you can't get that pre-wedding jitters anymore. You're already married. You can't get away that easy. Thanks a billion. You've saved the wedding. And with that, Mabel gets to work on wrestling Grompers into his dress, yelling commands to Dipper to grab Waddles, who thankfully didn't get his bow tie dirty when he dashed away earlier, and get everything ready for the most important ceremony in the history of ever. Maybe an exaggeration, but Mabel's excitement is undoubtedly contagious. Okay, once Dip finds Waddles, I think we've got everything ready. I am, of course, the vicar, caterer, proud mother, musical guest combo. Dipper's gonna take pictures for my scrapbook. I never agreed to that. Dipper, please, I've got to officiate. Do you mean officiate? See, I'm so busy I can't even talk right. Please, Dipper, I'll help you with some nerd thing later. I pinky swear. Dipper contemplates this, hand in chin, mirroring his Grunkle Ford, of course. As long as you actually do this time, then yeah, I'll take pictures. Mabel jumps up and down with excitement, jostling poor Grompers in her arms. Thank you, Dipper, I owe you one. This is what the best brother looks like right here. Okay, you don't have to do that whole thing again. I'll get back to... Waddles, you get back here. Okay, now we have that fixed. That means he... Wait! Stu's left already. My ring bearer's gone. Oh no, what are we gonna do, Grompers? Grompers gives an intelligent answer of bah, chewing on his bridal veil. I could ask him, but I don't know. Grompers chooses that moment to look into Mabel's eyes and bleat at her incessantly. Mabel, naturally, takes this as a sign from Goat. You're right, of course. It's your special day. Again. She turns to you with pleading eyes. Could you be the new ring bearer for the ceremony? It would give me no greater honor. I'm very pleased in this partnership, Mabel. I have to see it through. Mabel beams, obviously, very pleased that you're taking this as seriously as she is. Thank you! Let's get this show on the road, or this wedding on the backyard. It still works. Mabel beams, obviously... Oh. Mabel runs into the house, and you hear her thudding upstairs faster than hungry Waddles. Grompers, thankfully, is still occupied by that half a sandwich Mabel taunted him with. Stays put. She comes back soon after with a purple pillow and 2 clear sticks. After snapping the sticks in half, they're glow sticks, she curls them into small bracelet-sized rings. There's just so much more fun than rings. Plus, Waddles can put it in his tail to look super handsome. Waddles oinks in agreement, and his mad dash out the house, he's lost his top hat. Hold your hands out, palms up, and get down so you're not as tall, so they can't put the rings on each other if you're way up there. She got a point. You duck to your knees in the dirt, and Mabel turns your hands palm up, reverently placing the pillow and the glow sticks right atop them. Okay, Mabel, I'm done with the camera. Why are you on the ground? You gesture to the happy couple with a wide arc of your arm. They need a ring bearer. I guess they do. Mabel nods, small hands on her hips. She looks over the wedding scene and mumbles to herself, checking things off a mental checklist. Okay, I think we have— Wait! I forgot the flower petals! I'll be right back! She's gone again, leaving you alone with the pig groom and a goat bride and 2 glow stick bands of matrimony. Goat-trimony, that kinda works. You decide not to crack that pun to Dipper, who's examining his disposable camera. He pops the bag open and sighs, smacking a hand to his forehead. This one's out of film. It must have been the one that Mabel used at Candy's party. He looks up at you and shrugs. I'll get one of my spares. Make sure the 2 don't go anywhere, or Mabel will— you know Mabel. You haven't known Mabel as long as Dipper has, but you understand immediately. You're left alone in the backyard with a groom's pig and a bride goat, 2 glow sticks, and a broken disposable camera. While you'd love to say you've absolutely been in this situation before, you unfortunately have not. I really am happy for you both, Waddles and Grompers. Both animals turn to you, nonchalant to the current state of events. But I can't believe Mabel forgot the flower petals, jeez. Just as you continue the one-sided conversation between human, goat, and pig, you hear 2 voices coming from the house. 2 very familiar voices. Listen, Sixer, if you hadn't gone off about that wobbly junker, the gobble wonker Stanley, has Dipper really never told you? He wouldn't have freaked out the kid at the store we needed, and we'd have, I don't know, the stuff to fix my house after you got a car stuck in it. It's still my house, and besides, if he was a fisherman, he needed to know. We'll stand and pour around the corner to find you sitting on your heels next to Waddles and Grompers, brandishing a pillow and glow stick stuck in the dirt. The 3 of you stare at each other in silence. My voice is starting to give out. I suppose not give out, but my voice feels very, like, raspy. So I think I might wrap up the stream. Purely because he's late. I mean, not late, but like, yeah, body giving out a little bit. I think I'm gonna raid. Let's raid the Digibunny. It's been a bit since I've been able to raid him. Our raid message is: you have found the missing persons. I may or may not be live tomorrow morning. I've been sleeping in lately. But I would like to be live tomorrow morning. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. And I'm probably just gonna catch you guys later. Adios. Oh, if you're on YouTube, twitch.tv/Digibunny. Not you have found the missing persons. Digi_bunny. Anyway, thank you guys.